Good afternoon, keeps of the cash. Going to be the casual comic guy here, and guys, we're here with Savage Saturday Comic Review, episode 89, 11 away from the big 100, and bringing you something a little different again today. Something that features a character called Tanya the Fox, and it's called Through a Glass Darkly, and it takes place in the Hyborian Age, and Crom is still God there. So it's a tale set in Conan's time. And the issue that it happens in is the Savage Sword of Conan, issue 77. It is one of the backup feature stories. And again, Tanya the Fox. Alright, so as our tale opens, we have a little rhyme here from Lewis Carroll. It says, contrary-wise, if it was so, it might be. And if it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic. Alright, so little setup here, and that leads into our tale. And we have this seer called Cleo. He's with his wagon and his horse, and he's being harassed by a few brigands who have something that's extremely valuable to him. It's in a bag. They're tossing it to and fro, back and forth to each other, and he's begging them, please, it's priceless, you can't know, I'll give you all the gold I have, only give it back to me, please. And the one brigand thinks it's really funny that he wants it so bad, and he tosses it really hard, knowing that the other brigand can't catch it, and goes by him into the forest. And right now, the wizard is a little, I keep saying wizard, the seer is a little distraught about it. And, let's give you a quick show of it. So, there's Cleo with his wagon, his horse, and being harassed by the brigands. As our tale continues, the one brigand chasing the bag that was overthrown, he gets in there. It's like, where the blazes did it go? And you see this woman tossing it and catching it, asking him, did you lose something? And he starts to proposition her. He's really belittling her, calling her my pretty. And he's saying like really rude things, like, let's go lay down in the grass and I'll show you the family jewels. And she goes, but I've already found them, good sire. She gives him a quick boot to the head and renders him unconscious. And it cuts to the scene of the other brigand calling out for him. He's like, Lauren, what's taking so long? Lauren? And the seer's watching as this guy disappears into the forest, only to come back out unconscious. And he sees the bag being tossed to him and he catches it. And he thinks the bag has magic now and that it defeated them on its own, until Tanya comes out. She goes, the mayor's name is Lita, old man, not Ishtar. And I am Tanya the Fox. Who might you be? He says, he is Cleo the Seer. He is great. He says, I am grateful to you. Come have tea in my wagon and I will show you the priceless object you saved. And she looks at it. Once they're inside, she's like, oh, a magic crystal. I might have guessed. He goes, I have a few powers of my own, but they come alive in this precious glass. And he offers her a demonstration of those powers. As you can see, the Joe Chiodo art is doing a spectacular job. And just a great, fun little story. So we turn the page and she's seeing part of the future. She's seeing her daughter that she ends up having. And her daughter growing up. But she also sees her daughter fighting a guy, defeating him, but the guy swipes the horse's legs with a sword, which topples her off a bridge to her death. And this is too much for her to see. The future, her young, beautiful daughter, about 16 years of age, and even though she's a stout warrior and she's able to defend herself, the circumstances of fate have led to her daughter's death. And no matter how good of a fighter her daughter is, and she goes, she cannot die, she's so young. And the seer says, I'm sorry, you insisted. And Tanya's like, it isn't fair. Who is chasing her? I'll kill him this instant, tell me. He goes, you forgot, you were looking at the future. The man is not yet born. And she goes, then give me the name of his father. Tell me, Cleo, or so help me. So the seer made the mistake of showing her a future. She saw her beautiful daughter, But then she had to see her daughter die after being in combat with this man, and she is on the way to kill the man who will father this guy that ends up leading to her daughter's death. So it's already getting a bit messy for her, and she's not thinking about anyone who might be innocent in the here and now. But she goes and she tracks down this guy and finds him sleeping in a meadow. It's his wedding day. He's just married his wife, and they're at an encampment. The guy's name is Brandius, and the bride's there and the handmaid's there, and she's like, for my daughter, for Ariel, and that's her daughter's name. And she wakes the guy up and she says, "On your feet, lout. Get up and fight me fairly." And she deals him a mortal wound and leaves him there dying in the grass as she hears screaming. And she sees that the two women are in distress in the water. They're both drowning. She can only have time to save one. She saves the one closest to her, which is the handmaid. So she gets back to shore. The handmaid's like, "Please save my lady." She's like, "I can't. There's not time. She's already dead." And she goes back to the seer. She demands that the seer looks into the ball again. She says, "Show me again the scene by the bridge, old man, and see for yourself." And when they peer into the ball, she sees the mother of the child is actually the handmaid. And she accuses the wizard of lying, the seer of lying to her. She's like, "The handmaid, I saved the wrong person. I should have let that one drown." And she rushes back. And the handmaid is distraught and crying. And she's starting to feel guilty that she caused so much sorrow in a couple people's lives over a life in the future that hasn't yet lived. So she gives this woman an option and tells her to go raise her son in seclusion on this island. And if he ever leaves the island, it'll lead to his death as an adult man. So she goes and does that. And she takes off. Tanya races back to the seer and says, "What has my actions wrought this time? Show me." So he goes, "Look then if you must." And she goes, "She is alone. Her pursuer does not exist. Ishtar be praised." And as her daughter approaches the bridge breaks, and her daughter still falls to her peril and dies in the future at the same age, at the same time. And at this point, she's distraught. No matter what she does, it's not going to prevent her daughter's death. And she's like, no. And the wizard's like, "I warned you, fair one. You cannot change destiny's path." She goes, "It would be better if she had never been born." But the wizard, he has a little bit of the seer. I keep calling him the wizard. He goes, "A life lived, no matter how short, is better than no life at all." But Tanya's determined. She's like, "She shall never be born. I'll make certain of that by giving myself to no man." And the wizard knows that this is not a good path. And he goes, "My powers cannot change the future, fair one." And she can't hear him. She's walking away from him. He goes, "But I can make you forget your knowledge of it." And she's beset by a terrible headache, and the knowledge of her future daughter's death is taken from her. And as she's fainting a little bit, a firm hand grasps her and asks her if she's okay. And it says, Tanya turns. Before her stands a tall, handsome young man with jet black hair. He smiles invitingly. And he says, "A carnival can be a lonely place if you've no one to share with. May I show it to you?" And she's like, "Why not?" with a smile on her face, having been relieved of her knowledge of the future and her daughter's death. And she's in the arms of a barbarian that looks suspiciously like Conan. So who knows? Was that Conan's future daughter that dies there that he never knew about? But a fun little tale, a little bit of a what if I do this, can I change the future? Can I change and alter destiny's path? For this story, they played it that you can't, that it'll play out regardless. Of course, there's many other tales where time has changed, circumstances are different, and the timeline is altered. But for this story, that's how they chose to pursue it. I thought it was a fun little story. A cool character seeing Tanya the Fox, someone I wasn't familiar with. I had never actually read that story before, so it was a little treat for me. Again, Bruce Jones, a little bit of darkness in there. It's a sad future that she has ahead of her. But what do you guys think? Is it better for her daughter to be born or for her to know her and love her daughter to have at least 16 years of a happy life? Or for her not to be born at all if she's only going to die at the age of 16? I kind of agree with the seer on this one, you know? No matter how much life is lived, she got to live some. She brought her mom joy. She brought some joy to the world. Yes, she died, but what purpose did her life serve? That's up for those who are affected by her to judge, right? So, fun little story. A lot of little what-if scenarios that you can go crazy with in your mind thinking about. But that's it for Savage Saturday Comic Review 89. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you back here next week. Until next time, keep it casual. Attention all, use channel sponsor Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com and my code Keep It Casual for 10% off your comic cleaning and pressing needs. Remember, when submitting your books to be graded, use a trusted professional.